Hello everyone, welcome. This is my most ambitious video yet, where I finally cover Doki Doki Literature Club. I'll take a deep dive into the story, characters, the game's release, the fanbase, my personal connection to it all, blah blah blah. Also, I wanted to make this video while still in high school just so I can stay connected to the game's setting. Maybe I'll do something for the 5th anniversary later this year, who knows. Now, this video is actually going to be different than what you're used to, as I'll be breaking each topic of discussion into sections just to stay more organized. Gotta keep that editing improvement going. And with that, let's start. Doki Doki Literature Club is a psychological horror game disguised as a simple dating sim. It was made with love by Dan Salvato and his team for about 2 years, and was released for free on Steam in 2017, just 5 days after my birthday. A Doki a day, I guess. The game was a huge success, eventually reaching 1 million+ downloads, and the critical response was absolutely fantastic, leading to lots of memes, music, theories, and so much more. There was plenty of teasers and speculation about the potential future of the game, but nothing that major would come about for years, aside from some anniversary fan art, among other things. But then in June 2021, it was announced. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, a premium physical remastered expansion of the game, about 4 years after the original, giving the franchise even more attention. The game was bought up and praised for its physical condition, features, bonus content, and more, even if the base gameplay itself wasn't changed much. Pretty obvious that DDLC has had quite a nice history. Now, it's time to get into the game itself. I don't want to go through every piece of the plot as that takes up too much time, but I'll give you a good rundown. Also spoilers ahead. You play as a male high school student seemingly in Japan, as you meet up with your childhood friend Sayori on your daily walk to school. She eventually convinces you to stop by the literature club, where you meet club members Natsuki, Yuri, and Monika. To their delight, you join the club, if only for your obvious desires. Throughout the game, you have several conversations and interactions with the girls, learning more and more about them. All while you write poems each night in the hopes of winning one of them over. In the lead up to a festival, Sayori reveals that she suffers from depression, and on the big day itself, you run to her house only to find that she took her own life.
I think there's someone hanging right there.
The game glitches out and starts over without her like nothing even happened. And it's around here that the negative characteristics of Natsuki and Yuri are noticeably amplified to a disturbing level. And from here on out, things go crazy. There are plenty of warning signs that the girls are going nuts, and the game continues to bug out and become more and more distorted. And now you see why this is a horror game. A few spooks later, Yuri stabs herself after confessing to you. You sit there with her corpse for days until Monika finds out what happened and deletes the other girls from the game. Monika reveals that she's sentient and is aware that she's a video game character. And she's in love with you, the player. All that's left is just a classroom, you, and Monika. Just Monika. All this is simply because she wasn't ever given a route. The game doesn't allow the player to fall in love with Monika, unlike with the others. She was left out and lonely, and felt that the only way to get her happy ending was to remove everyone else from the game, allowing the two of you to be together forever. The game has you go into its files to delete her, which is the only way to quote-unquote win. When you do, she's disgusted at first, but then she has an actual change of heart and understands what we wanted from this experience. Wow, just wow. She apologizes, reveals that the others weren't actually deleted, and undoes everything she caused, bringing everyone and everything back to normal. Character redemption! The game restarts without her, and Sayori is now club president. But uh-oh, Sayori now turns out to be self-aware like Monika. She tries to hold you the same way she did, only for Monika herself to instantly stop her and have you leave the literature club. The credits roll with a lovely song by Monika, and that is Doki Doki Literature Club, my friends. Oh, and there's the side stories on DDLC Plus, and all the Project Libitina metaverse stuff. What a ride. There are many words I can use to describe this game's story, but the one I think fits the most is subversive. You have no idea where it'll go next. The plot twists and turns with all kinds of new revelations, not to mention how emotional it can get me. It's truly something I've never seen done before, and I love it for that. So, let's get into the clubmates. Now, Sayori is a bundle of sunshine and is vice president of the club. She's bubbly, sweet, clumsy, good at getting food out of people, and sees the best in everyone. She has a sense of childlike wonder and energy with the way she excitedly talks to her clubmates. Her hidden depression is why she acts happy all the time, and why she's desperate to lift the spirits of others. She sees herself as undeserving of self-love. Wow. Sayori is a hard character to dislike. How could you not love this adorable cinnamon bun? She's admittedly not my favorite, but it doesn't mean she has problems, at least not any as a character. Yuri is a dark and mysterious purple-haired bookworm. She's very considerate, deep, mature, smart, and clearly passionate about what she loves. Though she's very insecure, timid, overly apologetic, a bit clingy, self-doubting, and can sometimes be condescending when attempting to prove a point. She has a love for horror novels and tea, a collection of knives, noticeably developed and a lack of self-confidence and social skills, plus some bad habits. I surprisingly find myself relating to Yuri way more than I thought I would. Natsuki is essentially a pinky little tsundere. She can be picky, hot-tempered, and very irritable, but she does have a sweet and endearing heart underneath all her anger though, and it's very clear that she shows concern for her friends, especially Yuri despite their arguments. She also worries about being forgotten, doesn't get along with her dad, and loves kitties, manga, and baking. Dan himself has gone on record saying he wishes he did even more with Natsuki. And I get it. There's a lot of interesting development done with her, and so much potential for more. Overall, I find Natsuki very likable, even if those likable traits are hard to see at first. Oh, and also, don't call her cute. Just don't. And finally, Monica, the club president. She's very welcoming, considerate, mature, and a hard worker. She wants the best for the club as she views it as a vessel for people to share their love for literature. She plays the piano and praises others' work, and is overall a sweet girl. Monica is a very tragic character though, as not only does she not get to be with you, but her awareness traumatizes her. All her friends are fake and the world around her is a simulation. Whenever the player closes the game, she's tortured horribly and the only way to feel happiness is to create an ending with you. Powerful stuff. Let's not forget that she's still very much cared for her friends and didn't even intend for them to die. I know most people know this already, but it's very clear that Monica isn't a villain or even evil, but just simply the main source of conflict, like a certain grandma. But even that doesn't last for too long. Her character redemption is wonderful. It would have been so easy to just have her as a one-dimensional monster and have everyone else be perfect at the end, but nope. If you couldn't tell, Monica is my personal favorite. I find her the most sympathetic and interesting of the group. Plus... And you know what? Fine. I'll briefly discuss the MC. He's essentially just the nameless blank canvas that we play as. He intentionally doesn't have much personality, but he does come off as generally observant and caring. Plus he shows different sides of himself when he talks with individual girls. There, you happy? I also want to comment on the visuals, cause man are they nice. I love the character designs. Each one is distinct and unlike anything I've ever seen before. I'm not even an anime person, and when I see these characters, the first thing that comes to mind is DDLC and not just anime in general. That goes to show how unique the characters look to me. Plus, the backgrounds are comfy and every cutscene is just plain gorgeous. And the music, oh, it's lovely. Every track fits the tone of each scene wonderfully. And how can I forget Your Reality? Ugh, such a beautiful ending piece. So that's the game itself.
Marvelous!
Now, how do I come into play? I'm a gigantic fan of DDLC. I want to say near the end of last November, this suddenly became one of my favorite games ever. I got absolutely hooked. I couldn't get enough of it. I fell in love with the characters, I loved the horrific spin, I loved the fun and relaxing fan content. Me and DDLC really did cross paths at the best of times too. I've been a sad loner for years, along with the fact that I turned 17 just a few months prior. The game has so many elements I appreciate, Plus, it's still relevant and popular, but not shoved in your face to the point where it becomes irritating. I still needed a newly beloved franchise to represent 2021, and it stood out from everything else I adored. Not to mention the broad content for me to watch, and that I have friends who are also fans. All the stars were perfectly aligned for me to fall in love with it. And the more I think about it, the same can be said for Encanto. Do I love Encanto as much as this? No, obviously. But that's a story for another day. AKA... DDLC gives me so much of everything. Wisdom, laughs, lore, spooks, music, and...
romantic, sexual love.
No, I don't.
For her.
No.
Plus, since it can get exhausting remembering so many characters from stuff I love, it's refreshing to discover something with a tiny cast of characters, let alone characters that don't even technically speak or move, mostly. Doki Doki and my 2021 Christmas trip kinda go hand in hand. I started getting into it before our holiday journey, but it just got stronger and stronger as time went on. I have particularly good memories of listening to music or enjoying mods while in Idaho, and heck, I even reminisce on minor stuff like how when we spent the night at our friend's house in Wisconsin and watched a movie in their basement, I kept going back upstairs briefly to watch more DDLC stuff. That says a lot. My newfound obsession neatly made its way into my channel, and my passion has prevailed all the way to today. Saying all this does raise some questions though. Most importantly, why didn't I get into Doki Doki beforehand? Honestly, I don't really know. I guess I just wasn't exposed to it enough, and keep in mind that I was focused on other big things when it was still rather new. I feel bad not getting into it sooner, as it really could have helped me with my lack of a you-know-what. But then how did I end up becoming a fan? I already explained the reasons why, but the how I'm also not 100% sure on. It's possible that I came across the Just Art channel right away and I got curious. Perhaps I was influenced by my friends mentioning it. Maybe I stumbled upon fan art from certain websites we don't speak of. I don't know. It's like it literally came out of nowhere. Whatever the cause, it happened and I'm thankful for that. Though, who do I think is best girl? For me, all of them, but Monica is my favorite. Wait, does that even make sense? Now there's one more question I want to answer. Why did I become a fan of this, and never stuff like Bendy, Hello Neighbor, Poppy Playtime? You see, it's not that I particularly hate those games, well, Poppy Playtime kinda sucks, but it's more so because DDLC has never really lost sight of its vision. It's for an older audience, and it doesn't pretend like it's not. It can be sweet and cutesy, but its mature themes and especially its horrific spin solidifies who it's made for. It didn't neuter itself to appease a larger audience. Not only that, but Doki Doki didn't come out in chapters despite being a visual novel, nor did it seek out people's wallets only to force them to buy future content. And most importantly, it didn't try to capitalize on the horror success of FNAF. It was just simply doing its own thing, and that's why people love it. Never with DDLC will you find this, or this, or this. I'll link an excellent video about this topic in the description if you're curious. Anyways, it's so nice to become a fan of something without any drawbacks or controversy. Oh god damn it! Yeah, long ago, BBC News made a deal about a boy whose death was possibly linked to the game. Rest in peace to the kid, but yeah, this speaks for itself. Just another example of parents blaming video games instead of their own mistakes. And nearly everything they say in the broadcast is hilariously wrong. Like, they straight up say that the visuals of this high school dating sim are clearly aimed at children. Well, that gives me an excuse to use this clip.
They're such chads, they don't even know what hentai is. Idiots.
Great to know that people can pour their heart into creating something, only for the media to stupidly try to make it look bad. Nice job, BBC. And even worse, there was suggestions that those who cosplay as these characters also want to
delete
themselves.
What? What the f?
This is why people don't like the news. Regardless, I don't think anything came about from this, as it shouldn't, and everyone already shot down this mess. Again, I've got 2 great videos on the topic in the description if you're curious. Never mind that now. DDLC is indeed something that I'll continue to hold on to dearly. It's not some silly little phase that comes and goes, it's a top tier favorite franchise for me. Even when I someday find love, that's never gonna happen, buddy. I'll still be a Doki Doki fan. Hopefully forever. Hey, that's a song, isn't it? And this leads me into my last topic. DDLC has one of the best fan bases I've ever seen. There's like no substantial drama, mostly because the developer is great and because the franchise isn't being tarnished. There's so much to go over. There's the many Let's Plays from people like Jacksepticeye, Game Theory, and most importantly to me, Markiplier himself. His was the first one I saw, and I loved what he said at the end of the final episode. Check it out, baby. There's been plenty of interesting theories brewing over time, and the songs that people have made are chef's kiss. My favorites include the one from earlier, Get Out of My Head, JT Music's DDLC song, and especially Why Did I Say Okie Dokie by the Stupendium, and Random Encounters, Just Monica. I highly recommend this Minecraft animation of the latter too. And the memes have been an absolute delight. So much good.
So much good.
The endless fan art is dazzling. All the talented cosplayers continue to impress me too. I might as well mention AI anime cosplay / Square One cosplay now. They made these wonderful cosplay skits that I adore, but sadly the group split apart and most of the videos are unavailable. Thank God for re-uploads. Eventually a new cast for their DDLC videos was constructed. The new group is also quite nice and I really enjoy their work, just not as much as the older stuff. This channel is honestly wonderful and I wish the best for them. There's also tons of great animations and animatics to check out, especially from the little chunkies themselves. But how can I forget to mention one of the most important aspects of the fanbase? The mods. There are so many great, and not so great, mods out there. The work people put into this stuff is inspiring. It's practically a community in itself. My favorite mod-based channels include Candiella, Kane Monger, Monica Smileyface, Drakenex, Drakenod, Drakenu, whatever, and Spaghetto. These are all amazing and worth your time. And I want to give a special mention to Monica Sillyface for being so fun and charming. Yeah, this fandom is an important one to me, and I hope to see it thrive for years to come. I'm tempted to say that becoming a DDLC fan is one of the best things to have happened to me in the past few years, and I'm so happy to finally share that. I also want to thank some special people for everything they've done for me. Firstly, Misty Motorcrass and NASCAR Dalek 48 for partially inviting me into this whole thing. Nextly, Jay Killen Gaming for making awesome streams and such, and for being a surprisingly epic and supportive friend. I first saw the Sayori Gets Unwrapped video from him, and now I've become incredibly invested. You rock, my man.
Of course.
And how can I forget Monica020 for being one of my most supportive viewers and one of my greatest friends online. Seriously, I cannot thank you enough. And finally, Dan Salvato. Thank you, sir, for making a game that's changed the lives of so many, including my own. I'll be there to support what you and your team create next. May you live the rest of your life in love and literature. Whew. Thank you all so much for watching this entire video. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, just Monica.